Yesterday marks exactly 120 days. John Dramani Mahama president. Eshe Ghana for boss or ba eye abemua. Boshe ahodwa. Obeshe se obi diso ansana eye dano akọ awie. Enrada in a podcast ono ankasa de nanu disem ebe tu dwa radio wetimi aye ne die ogusu a oye. Nenso so abusua ya na de otwa san onim se ne chiachia the minority caucus. And so and the 120 bitter days of John Dramani Mahama Shisha so much biaye and Niema John Dramani Mahama Kaya Wanye na in the podcast no skillfully Johnny Free be one be mudie or then anonso FFA wajibre na yenti aleza na fenyo markets na very surprising said the drop of CDR and they omudi a bomb for him no I mean and yet creditor the NDC government should claim but name no international investors. I mean there's a global stage of with the green paper which is the USDR more air or more retirees in this money man no and I may who ye nyom a bed and send or two yana jibre now men far less than a fenyo market the minority leader I know this mental house.
What we are experiencing is another vendetta, and this is not justice, an opportunity for all Ghanaians, rather persecution. They promise constitutional reform, but we don't trust them. What they are doing is not constitutional reform, but they are attempting to create a Trojan horse for perhaps, if not lifetime presidency, a third-term president. Now, they themselves are undertaking some false praise and making some claims. They claim that the city is strong because of the government's effort. I am a businessman. I will be happy any day if our local currency is strong, because that would help grow the business of Ghanaians, including me, who is a private sector player. But that is not the case. In this government administration, we know, all they know is deceit. They are claiming credit for what they have not achieved. We know on the global stage, the US dollar itself is having its own challenges. Recently, the ICE US dollar index, measuring the dollar strength against a basket of major currencies, indicated that the US dollar has slipped below 100 as market rule from rising sell America sentiment. The dollar is weakening not because the cedi is strong, but because investors are losing faith in the greenback itself. As Nigel Green, CEO of the VIA Group, warned just last week, quote, dollar dominance is being critically diluted. Trump's erratic tariff policies, investor disillusionment with US equities and bonds, and global power realignment are fueling this slow but seismic shifts, end quote. So this is not an NDC miracle. This is a global monetary turbulence. This is currency recalibration on a planetary scale. So I'm telling the finance minister, go and pay the suppliers. Go and pay the contractors. The contractors must get back on the road. Government construction project must resume. Pay the contractors and stop holding back people's money. Now, there may be some few steps forward. We, as a responsible minority, will be objective. What are those few steps forward? Well, we are aware that they managed to take away the e-levy, betting tax and emission levy, that they have said so. But the real issue is that the promise of no academic fee policy for first-year students. They continue to talk about it. Have those students had the refunds made? when Akufo-Addo promised free SHS, it was contained in his first year's budget. Students were not asked to pay for later refund. No. They promised Ghanaian students in the university. What they are telling them is that, we are going to do it. But it's not a talk that we are after. We must equally be clear that some of the achievements that they were talking about yesterday fell far short of the scale and the urgency of the promises they made to the ordinary Ghanaian. You can't just talk about some few achievements that in real terms have no impact on the economy. If you want to talk about achievement, talk about achievements that have made profound impact on the economy. And we invite them to a debate. Their lucky parliament is on break. But we hold on to our submissions and deal with them on the floor of the House. They should tell us the so-called achievement. What real impact have these achievements made on the economy? Zero. Let me quote a policy analyst, Michael Kosi Dede. He noted on Channel 1 TV, that only 9 out of 26 items in President Mahama's 120-day contract have real substance. The reset, he said, are, quote, largely symbolic and cosmetic. I couldn't have agreed with him more. I adopt this submission as though they are mine. And I adopt them because this analyst is speaking to the real issues that confront you and I. When the appointment of ministers, an obligation under the Constitution, was presented as a milestone, I laughed. Clearly, to me, it revealed a government more concerned with optics than outcomes. You claim you've appointed few ministers, but you've appointed more partisan political staffers at the Jubilee House and other state agencies. So what are you talking about? Let me give you one example. Honorable Felix Kwachi Ofosu, the Minister of State responsible for government communications. We are told that the ministry was collapsed and he is there as government spokesperson. But he has some 3 deputies. They say a deputy government spokesperson, a deputy government spokesperson. And then at the same presidency, you have a communication director. At the same presidency, you have a director of research. Then you have a director responsible for agriculture. Ebe. And somebody. So Erikopoku is not competent. Erikopoku, as your lead servant on agriculture, you say that you are appointing a director of agriculture at the presidency to do what? Yet you come back and say, oh, you promised to do less ministers, so we should applaud you. They should do a much more tidy checklist, and they will know that they failed the people of Ghana. So yes, they may try to pat themselves on their own, on their back, but clearly there is no clear delivery architecture for many of the initiatives that they've introduced. There is no single policy direction for any sector of the economy clearly outlined by the government for its ministers. No enforcement mechanism, no timelines. In too many instances, governments have substituted symbolism for substance. What we are witnessing is not the architecture of a national renewal. It is a scaffolding of political theater. Ghana does not need praise points. Ghana needs power, jobs, justice, and delivery. The difference is not academic, it is existential. Let me conclude. Mr. President, you have performed badly, poorly. Indeed, the failures that we have catalogued so far are not exhaustive. The cocoa farmers under NPP, cocoa price per bag was 3,000. They promised to increase it to 6,000. We had it at 3,100. They said they were going to increase it to 6,000. Today, they have reneged on that promise, and they tell us that they didn't know the scale of the challenge. Really? So they didn't know and they were promising. We don't need symbolic gestures. They are only engaged in such practices and neglecting the structures. The deeper you look, the more you find that this government does not aim to transform, but they are engaged in a regression wrapped in rhetoric. Mr. President, you promised truth, but so far we are seeing evasion. Mr. President, you promised inclusiveness. Today, you are serving us with exclusion. Your Excellency, you promised partnership, but what we are experiencing from your government is punishment. You promised prosperity. What do we see today? Paralysis. NDC, I say to you, you've broken your promise. You have abandoned your own sacred oath as a government. You have abandoned your own manifesto. You've trampled upon the hopes of the nation in search of a meaningful continuity. But this country will not surrender. We, the minority, the mighty minority, will not sit back as we redefine and ruin reforms. We will not let you stretch your stay or mutilate the Constitution. After 120 days, we clearly see your schemes. We see your lame duck days. We see a government without hope. We see bitterness along the way. But we promise the people of Ghana that we will stand by you, we will stand with you, and we know that come the next cycle of elections, NPP will have an opportunity to reset this country on a positive footing for a better Ghana. Thank you so much indeed.